Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on Voice of the Rings, and this is a LOTRO guide. In this episode we will be going over skill setup and basic combat. This is good stuff to know, and also we will go into basically helping make sure you're ready to go, and when you get into one of those sticky battles and you don't quite know how to click fast enough on something, or you don't know the right button to click, or you're going into a raid and they're like, you know how to raid? And you're like, I guess? And then you go and you're like, oh no, I don't even know how to target things correctly. Oh no! This can be a little bit confusing, this game, especially for people who haven't grown up playing this game, like 14 years, or you know, that kind of stuff. But anyone can learn this stuff. It's not that hard, you guys. Don't worry. I am here with my friend Zolland. Actually, technically in the lore, he is the younger brother of Zolland. But he's on my other account. It used to be my sister's account, but it's been mine for years now. So, anyway, Zolland, say hi to everyone. We will bounce back and forth here with the thingy. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so we are going to show you this by Zolland is first. What I want to show you is basically normal stuff. I could actually not find where training dummies were to actually shoot, so we're gonna just use some deer and bears, which we have found here in the Breland fields south of Bray. Alright, so it's a beautiful spot. You can hear the crickets in the air, right? Alright, so we are going to start with the basics, right? So first things first, when you see a target, right? I'm gonna have Zarlin do this. When you see a target, you walk up, right? You left click on it. Blink. That will not attack it. If I had right-clicked on it, my character would have automatically used this ability, which you can also click this now, this little sword down here, and my character would have done what is called auto attack, which is basically you just shoot a regular attack at the certain speed of whatever weapon you are using. It's DPS and damage, right? So I'm gonna one-shot this thing, so I'm not gonna attack it right now. But anyway, so now you know, that's how you auto attack. So right click to attack, left click to just do a select target. Alright? So, now that we need to know that, this thing up here, this bar from me, this is different, okay? Let's go back to Zolland real quick. For Zolland, there is no bar above his auto attack thing because he's a guardian. His abilities use his blue bar of mana. That's all you need for them, correct? And you hover them, that's what it says. They consume 250 mana and have a cooldown, right? Alright, so now we'll go back to Zolland. If you can see here, I have this red bar. So I actually have a thing called focus. Hunters have focus. Hunters can focus in combat while remaining still, allowing them to make near impossible shots. So basically what happens is there are abilities that are going to give focus and that need focus. For example, normally things will be grayed out if you can't use them in the moment for a certain condition. So most of these abilities should be grayed out normally. Only these first four would be usable because, as you can see, if you read the ability, it says costs a certain amount of mana and then adds 3 focus. So it's going to add to this bar. Right now my bar is full, right? It's going to add to that bar. And then other abilities, like for example, this split shot ability says it costs 332 power, but also costs 2 focus. So out of the full 9 you can have, it would cost 2 of that to cast this ability, right? So basically you have to kind of go in between using these abilities as a hunter, correct? Does that make sense to everyone? I don't want to be too crazy complex on this, but it should be pretty self-explanatory once you use them a little and start clicking them. There's a few ways you can use your abilities, right? You can use the buttons on your mouse. As you can see in the bottom right, it's super tiny. I'm so sorry. I will just believe me, when you're playing the game, you'll see it. There's a little 1 here, a little 2 here, a little 3 here. So if you use the numbers on your keyboard, it will use it and shoot the ability. But you have to be targeted on the ability, left-clicking on the ability. Okay? So there's how you do that, right? And then you can click the abilities. You can also just left-click your abilities, right? And they will work. But you have to be targeted on something, right? And you have to be aimed towards them. If you're looking backwards, I do not think it'll allow you to shoot backwards. See? You must face the target. Oh no! Really? I didn't know I had to do that when I shot my bow. Anyway, you get the point. And then also, you Yep. Okay. Good. I want to make sure these steps are very clear and you guys can follow this very easily. So the next thing we need to know is about there are different charge ups for different people. For example, champions have a charge up system. They use a fervor system. When they cast their abilities, they get fervor, and when they're taking damage and dealing damage, they get it, and then they have abilities to cast it. It's similar to the focus system. Rune Keepers have I forget the exact wording, but it's a little thing that actually comes up on their screen, and it's green and red. And when they're using their damaging abilities, it builds up their damaging abilities, letting them do higher damage abilities. And if they're doing their healing abilities, it builds up their healing abilities, allowing them to do higher healing abilities. So that's a special thing with them. I believe most other characters are straightforward. Also, some characters like Lore Masters will use mana and your health, your HP bar. The abilities will say it. Sometimes abilities will say they give mana back. Like the Split Shot gives some mana back when I cast it, which is kind of cool. Helps with sustain in battle. This one also gives some power back. It could have something to do with my trait tree, as if you want to know about the trait trees, you can always go into the video I have on here on my channel about traits, racial and class. All right, so now we know that stuff. We need to talk about, so there are differences with different classes. I'm not going to go through all like 8, 9 classes or whatever there are because that'd be too hard, but you get the point, which is saying the Hunter focus bar and how the Guardian does not have that above his bar. All right, so now we're going to show something. Let's say we're in an instance, or a raid, or if you like to call it a dungeon. But in Lord of the Rings Online, I try to get the terminology correctly here, people. It's an instance in Lord of the Rings Online. An instance. Same thing as a dungeon, like in WoW or other games, but it's an instance in Lord of the Rings Online. Also, if people level up, usually you say congrats. That's usually just like a generic politeness in Lord of the Rings Online. I'm going to select this bear. I'm going to pretend like I'm tanking him. He won't aggro because he's so low level. So I'm going to pretend like I'm up close to him. Here's something. If you're in an instance, okay, I want to help you guys be able to target things easier. It'd be kind of hard from way back here, right? And by the way, my range skills, it will explain if you look. It says the induction time, which means that's how long it'll take to cast, and you get that little blue bar charging when you cast it. A lot of range and mages have induction times, that's what that's called. And it says it's a range skill, and it says it's at 30 meters. So if I click the bear, I'm actually out of range at this moment, I believe. Wait, no, I'm not. Let's see, what am I out of range? I forget what tells me when it's out of range. I'm definitely out of range right now. Right, so that bear is 56 meters from me. So I cannot shoot that bear right now. When I'm in range, it should... There we go. See that little, there's a little symbol that pops up. See how it's saying that? I'm actually out of range. So when that symbol goes away, now I'm in range. So you know 30 meters. You don't have to just guess it, right? Sometimes you want to be far away when you're shooting your bow. Now, I want to explain. So that's just an info you need to know about inductions and about the range thing. For example, some skills will have a range of 40 meters, right? And other things. I don't think many of these skills, I think hunters are mainly 30 meters. I think you might be able to increase it with your trait tree again, depending on what you're traded. This is all good stuff to know. But, for example, I don't know where the enemy is, right? You could click on my guardian over here. See in the top left? He's in my fellowship, right? We'll do a whole thing on friends and fellowships and stuff too later. But let's say I click on him, right? Boop. Okay, now I can see him. But I want to know his target, right? Right now, who is he targeting? Oh, look! He's targeting Zarlin. Well, that just won't do, right? So then I click myself because what he's targeting. So basically, let's say he's targeting the bear, right? He's battling the bear right now. And I want to help him out and kill that bear. So I'm going to go back to Zarlin. Oh, wait, nope, hold on. There we go. Go back to Zarlin. All right, so I can't actually click. Let's say I can't click the bear in a fight, right? There's a bunch of other mobs. I'm trying to hit the raid boss because I'm the hunter. I'm supposed to do DPS, right? With this particular character. So I need to get to the boss and not hit ads by mistake because I might aggro something that when I'm not supposed to, meaning it'll attack me instead of who it's supposed to be fighting. So I can click on my guardian here and then see his target. Look here's his target, right? There's his target. So I can actually click the target he's on, and now I'm selected on the bear. Perfect, right? So that's a good way to select the bear. There's another way to select targets. It's the, I believe it's tab. So if you're near targets, if you click tab, I'm not going to move my mouse, click tab. It selected the nearest target, this bear. If I click a tab again, it will rotate to another target nearby. And you can just rotate through targets, right? It is in the direction you're looking. Right, so there's 4 or 5 mobs in front of you, or enemies. If you click tab over and over, it'll rotate between them. It will get the closest target when you first tab, right? So depending on who's closer, so it's going to be, so realistically, the bear is slightly closer to me to that deer. So it targets the bear first every time. And then it'll rotate through the bear and the deer if I keep clicking tab. So tab is a very good thing to know, you guys. But also, you need to make sure you're shooting the right target. So make sure it's the right one still, of course. So the best way to make sure it's the right one in a raid or an instance is to click on your tank, who is tanking it, or melee guy, and then click his target, correct? There are also things we will talk about in the fellowship thing about, actually, you know what, we could do it right now real quick. Let's jump back to Zolan real fast. Um, he can go into the options, and as a leader, if you are the leader, you can say target mark. So you can actually, whenever you're selected on something, you can mark the target. I could even do that. Oh, okay, wait, did it? Oh, I see. I think I just did it on myself by mistake. All right, so actually you do that on yourself. So it's whatever you right-clicked on. So if I want to mark the target of the bear, I need to right-click on his portrait, say fellowship, target mark. I'm going to target him with death, right? So he's got a little thing over his head. So now Zarlin can see that he's the target we're trying to kill. So that's kind of a cool little thing. You can target things, right? With that. There is also then, let's see, loot rolls. If you're the leader, you can choose what loot roll you want to use. Free-for-all system means people can pick up whatever they want. There's a round robin, which just everyone has a roll pass. There's a free-for-all system with a need greed pass, which means that you loot everything you get, except for special things will come up with that. Obviously, need greed pass system is you don't care, you pass. You kind of like it, you don't really need it, is greed. And need is like, you need that item, you need that piece of new armor because it's made for your minstrel or it's made for your guardian or hunter. That's what that's for. Round robin with need greed pass. That's same kind of system. It does it for pretty much everything. And then there's a free for all with master loot. These are a little bit more complex. And the round robin with master loot. This is something that the leader actually designates the item. So he'll open the chest and he will designate what he gets. I don't do this very much because I'm not always the leader in our raids. So this usually comes down to a leader that'll know. You won't have to do this probably, most likely, unless you are. Usually you just do the normal roll or need system. All right. So we are actually not in a raid. I wanted to explain one more thing. So that I showed you how to find that. So let's say we want to, okay, so let's say we're going to do a raid. You're starting up a raid, right? So actually, you know, we're going to keep that for the friends and fellowship channel now. I think we'll stop at that. I just wanted to help you with targeting stuff and close combat. So again, combat stuff is all these ones and things. I also want to show you, if you get in the game, for example, and you click on Zolan and his target, and this is in here, there's a little trick to moving stuff around on your screen. You press control and it is the button. I don't know what it's called, but it's for making the forward slash and when you shift and the line. It's that button. So you push control, control that button. It brings up this. Don't freak out. You're just gonna find select target and bring that here. And you can also do whoever you're targeting, right? The overlay, I was targeting Zolan. So that's who your opponent vitals are. Opponent being whoever you're clicked on. And then you can move your fellowship panel around, which will have up to 5 members of your 6 fellowship group and your main vitals, right? So you can move those around. You could also move other things around on the board, progress, induction bar, that kind of thing, whatever. So for example, let's say the item that I'm going to click on him, use an ability, I'm going to just left click on it. I'm not going to use 3. Induction bar, there it is. Dead, right? Obliterated, right? I just way overkilled that guy. So anyway, that's how that works. I think we've done pretty good in this combat episode. So now you kind of understand basic things and basic systems. You can also read your skills, of course, to find out what they do. He has a skill at the beginning of combat. I can actually add focus, but I'm already at full focus anyway, because this ability adds focus every second and just lets me keep it. This stance. Stances are things that help you depending on what you want to do. So this gives more crit chance. And then, and that stays on all the time. Remember I explained this, the little black and white lines means the ability is on all the time. This one gives your whole fellowship a movement speed buff, whoever you're with. Hunters get some cool stuff. They were able to teleport their whole fellowship. By the way, if a hunter teleports, the person has to accept it, that kind of thing. All right, anyway, we're getting off track here. I'm going to end this video very soon here. So we have talked about mainly how to use your abilities and that stuff. Again, another thing that's good, you can actually move these abilities around. If you need more bars, you guys, you go to escape, you go to options. This is something good to do at the beginning of the game. I always like to tell everyone when you first start, go to the UI settings, go about 3/4 of the way down, and turn on always loot all. That is a really nice thing. You could upscale your things on the screen if they're too small for your screen, or if they're too big, you can put them down. Quick slot bars, these are very good. I think I talked about this in one video. but if you have you can lock this and unlock this. So if you unlock this, you can put things onto your bar and move things around, and you can also drop them off and remove them. And remember, when you find your skills, you go into character and you see your skill tab down here to add skills to your bar, right? You can add skills to your bar and set it up however you want, all your skills you've earned and learned, and it'll tell you if they're a passive skill that you don't even need to put them on the bar, or if they're an actual one, an active skill that work, right? Like, for example, a passive skill here would be, those all are active skills. Passive skill would be, do they? Oh, never mind, they have a passive tab. So those were all active. This is the passive tab. I'm sorry. I knew that. I knew that. I'm telling you, I knew that. Back to you, Zarlin. Zarlin might be a little bit slower. Anyway, and we are going to finish with that so you can lock that. And again, they will not have these at the beginning. Show bar 5. You notice how it disappeared? Show bar 5. You can also say make bar 5 horizontal. And then you could move it and have them all above this thing, right? Like that. But I kind of don't like to have it that far up on the screen because it bugs me. So I like to leave it right here like that. And then you drag things, by the way, by grabbing these little top knobs, right? Little where the word is and that little moving thing is. And then you click, once again, click the control with that line / button, bar line, vertical line button. You click to turn them off. And then you can lock your task bars again. By the way, again, you can dock bar 2 and 3. They will not be showing. You'll probably have something like this when you first start the game, right? Just one bar. It's good to think about that and make sure you have all of them there. So, and then I like to lock my bars. So anyway, I thought those would be good tips for you guys for setting up your skills and basic combat for doing raiding with, remember, tab. Tab is very good to find things you're looking at. Tab and rotating through things. Hello, Mr. Bear. He has respawned. And then also, again, if your friendly tank or someone is targeted on something and you cannot target him because there's like 10 mobs around him or he's behind a tree. By the way, line of sight does matter. If you're behind a tree, you will not be able to shoot the target. See? And it'll always tell you. Target out of line of sight. So then you can shoot him. But again, I can click on Zarlin and see that he is targeted on the bear, and then click his target here to be on the bear, and then shoot the bear. Right? There you go. We've done a good video. We must all thank Zarlin for his time, for joining us. I mean, not Zarlin. Zarlin, his brother. All right, we're back to Zarlin. So thank you so much, you guys, for this video on, again, on setting up your skills, setting up your taskbars, and then basic combat. So this video will probably be about basic, I will name it basic combat and like setting up your skills. Or your taskbars or something. Or, no, not taskbars, I'm sorry. Skill taskbar, whatever it's called. What is it called? What do they call them? I don't know. It's something about tasks. Maybe it is tasks. I'm gonna check real quick because it's gonna drive me crazy and everyone's gonna be like, what's it called? They are called, oh, it is quick slot bars. So setting up your quick slot bars. I don't know why I said tasks. That was interesting. All right, well, I am wasting time now. You have a good day. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I didn't mean to kind of lose it there at the last second, but we did go over everything we needed to go. I want to think, mull in my head real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything for you guys. I don't think so. We're going to do another video on fellowships and raids and a little bit more on setting that up and targeting systems and friendship, like inviting people to kins, that kind of thing. We'll do that as another video, basic combat, and I'm going to have one on mounted combat. So later you'll actually get a war steed, not just a regular one you ride, and I'll give you a little taste of that. They're super cool. They have their own skill set all together, so they work kind of the same way, but we will talk about that later. Thank you again for joining us, and I am Zarlin Iron Shield, your host, and we will see you on the next video.